ChatGerry, The Invisible Cracks Before Collapse, Reflections from My Stroke, and the First 20 Years of Diabetes Mismanagement, No. 1412, October 30, 2025. Gerald C. EclaireMD Foundation. Category, Stroke, Diabetes. When I first saw my CT scan on September 11, 2025, I was not surprised by the bright white dots scattered across my brain's microvessels, calcification. I knew immediately what they meant. Decades of hidden damage from my first 20 years of diabetes mismanagement. From 1990 to 2009, I made the same mistake many patients still make. I relied completely on medications to control glucose, while ignoring diet, exercise, sleep and stress. The drugs improved my surface numbers but never healed my body. They masked the problem, while silent internal cracks kept forming inside my vessels. I remembered Professor Norman Jones at MIT in 1973. Explaining how repeated heavy trucks can create invisible microcracks in a reinforced steel concrete bridge. Over time, these cracks accumulate until one storm or flood causes collapse. That very same engineering principle applied to my stroke. My cerebral microvessels were the bridge. Years of high glucose, poor lifestyle, and chronic stress were the trucks. My recent stroke was my final bridge collapse. On June 21, 2025, emotional stress triggered a sympathetic surge that spiked my blood pressure to 175 millimeters of mercury. For most people, that would not cause harm, but my weakened vessel near the pons could not withstand it, and it ruptured. The cause was long-term metabolic degeneration from diabetes. The trigger was a short burst of emotional stress-induced acute hypertension. By definition, my case was not chronic hypertension. Over the next 100 days, I measured my blood pressure more than 10,000 times. Only 0.2% of readings were above 130 millimeters of mercury, and none exceeded 150 millimeters of mercury. See attached figure. My physician confirmed the same pattern across 15 years of records. The data were crystal clear. I never had chronic hypertension. My stroke came from cumulative metabolic stress, mainly from diabetes, not years of high blood pressure. My viscoplastic medicine theory, VMT, energy model, quantified it precisely. 91% of the total stroke energy came from 1990 to 2009. My medication-dependent years, and only 9% from 2010 to 2025. The healthier period when I relied solely on lifestyle and self-management without any medication intervention. Numbers never lie. My stroke was not a sudden disaster, but a long-delayed structural failure from decades of neglect. My engineering training has given me a clear and logical perspective on both my health and my life. I now view my CT and MRI scans not as tragedies, but as technical blueprints of the human body. The CT reveals the hardened, calcified structures, evidence of past strain and accumulated damage. The MRI captures the softer side, the living tissues engaged in healing and reorganization. Together, they illustrate one principle: collapse follows years of neglected stress, while recovery demands knowledge, determination, persistence, and faith in science. The message is simple. True prevention must start early and be sustained through disciplined daily practice, not temporary fixes or pills. My stroke was painful, but it brought clarity. In health, as in engineering, invisible cracks form quietly long before the final failure. Disclaimer: I write this paper not for fame, but to share what I have learned so others can understand their health, prevent disease, and live longer, healthier lives. This content is for educational reference only, and does not constitute medical advice. No doctor-patient relationship is created. You may share this summary freely, but it must not be altered, edited, or republished as your own. All rights belong to the author, Gerald C.